Hi, how are you? I'll tell you a little funny story in a moment, but my name is Darlene with Featherweight Doctor. I am usually coming to you from my store in beautiful North Idaho. It is a lovely part of the country on the shores of Lake Pend Oreille and the base of Schweitzer Mountain, very close to the Canadian border. This week I am teaching and speaking in Phoenix in the Valley of the Sun where we used to live. And so I am here at a good friend's house tonight who is also a fellow quilter. And I was smiling to myself because this quilt on her wall, I'm in her quilt studio right now, was actually made by her and quilted by me. So that's kind of fun. It actually is right on topic with our topic tonight. I've got a couple pictures to show of our online community's works in progress. And then because our Monday show was so off with a bad Wi-Fi connection, I'm floating on 1 gig today, so we should have no internet problems at all. I'm going to pull up my feeds, and I want to say hi to a few friends, and then we can get started. I think everybody will think this is funny. So I've made it well known that I'm struggling with some power surges these days. It's my new season of life, and I'm sitting in Kathy's studio, and she has a ceiling fan above my head. And I was on Instagram a few minutes ago. I do a pre-show 10 minutes before I jump on this show, and I started having a power surge, and I'm like, Kathy, can we turn this fan on a little bit more? And she comes in, she goes, hi, how high do you want it? And I said, do you have cyclone mode? Sorry, I cracked myself up. She does have cyclone mode. So if you see my hair gently blowing in the wind, the ceiling fan, attempting to keep this woman cool. Attempting, I might add. So I'm up on Facebook. Let me go into my videos here on YouTube, and I'm hoping it has a green excellent connection thing. My hope, come on, interwebs. Okay, good. We have green connection. Solid. Okay, so hello, Elizabeth in Indiana. Hope you and Maggie are hanging out together. And Rhonda in North Dakota says hi. Julie in Tennessee says hi too. Rhonda says, I remember those days. Not fun. It has not been fun, especially since I'm here in the Valley of the Sun. Kathy is in East Texas. Hello, Kathy. Pauline's on from East Texas. Pauline is on from Forney. Kathy's on. Yes, all the glitches are worked out. Jennifer, you're in Orlando? Woman, it is hotter than Hades. What are you doing in Orlando? Good Lord. Debbie Sinclair says hello. Lisa's on. Hi, sweet pea. Thanks for dinner again last night. Odie's on. Rita from Montana's on. Welcome to the world of an older female. I've been told this is just the beginning and it all goes downhill from here. Mel, typically of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, is in Honduras. Hello. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Well, I wanted to read everybody a quick message from Judy P. Judy P is a faithful viewer. We love her. She has been struggling with some very, very serious health problems, and so we rolled out the Sunshine Brigade. Hi, Christine in Massachusetts. Thanks for tuning in. And you guys rose to the occasion, and I wanted to read her email to you. Y'all, I'm so proud of you. I don't even know how to say that without just saying it. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna slobber or get all soppy. Okay. Oh, good. Sandy Reese says her son Jimmy's at a car show, so she's safe. Girl, will you just clean a couple machines so he can just eat it and then he can't say anything? I'll come clean some machines for you. I'll come to Hampton Beach. No problem. Hi, Trina. I hope you're holding down the fort there in Pend Oreille for me. And Beth's on from Minnesota. She says, hot and humid here. We just have hot in Phoenix. We're skipping right over the humid. It's like 97 outside. Woo, that's hot. All right, so Judy says, heartfelt thanks is the subject email. She says, one thing that I will always remember, even after I go home and having 2 months of IVs ahead of me, is the kindness and generosity of spirit of the tribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the cards, little gifts, and words of encouragement. I'm just so proud of all of you. My spirits have been lifted, my progress has improved, and my belief in the goodness of humanity has been resurrected. Amen. I will go home and continue to be buoyed up by the tribe. Love you all, Judy. You guys are fantastic. You are simply the best. Thank you so much for making her day and for resurrecting her hope in humanity. I can tell you on more than one occasion you have done that for me as well. So you guys are all pretty darn special. Hi, Pat Butler from Ohio. Thanks for saying hi on YouTube. And Linda is on from Tennessee. Okay. Let's get to some pictures. I have a couple here. Molly in Spokane. Well, she's kind of local, although we have yet to be in the same room together. Hi, Christine. Thanks for saying hi on YouTube. She sent over a couple pictures. Let's see here. Now I gotta find it. Ooh, I haven't looked at my email in a little bit. Okay. So Molly says she is doing some quilts here. I'll see if I can go through. She says, hope you are not too sucked in with the smoke like we are here in Eastern Washington. About the only benefit is maybe my camera might deal color better. We'll see. So I hopped into the backyard for some pics since my house is too small for them. Having a hard time putting weight on my left foot after last week's stupid accident and then surgery. Good Lord, girl. But now I can sew again without needing to elevate. Good. Trying to get caught up and get some Christmas gifts off of my to-do list. So here are 3 pics. No idea of order. One is the new Pat Sloan Sew Along block Hometown Charms. A la me with Spokane changes. Okay. One is a Fat Quarter shop Riley Blake, and another is a Jelly Roll Sizzle Top. One is my Villa Rose pattern with quilt panels called Darling Spirit, which is about to get an additional plaid border when I can face dealing with a lining plaid again. Girl, you do not want to do plaid in the border. Didn't anybody tell you that? Ugh makes one want to drink. Cheers. I thought the wildfire smoke skies would help the colors show out better, but no, going ahead to send them even though I'm headed out tomorrow to rent Long Arm. Nice, 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 nice. All right, so here is, this looks like it's a Wildland Fire quilt. That's fantastic. Molly, that's cool. Where did you find that panel? And is that embroidery? Look, does she have embroidery on there? That's awesome. Very cool. All right, and then she's got, here's the pinwheel quilt. I think this is the sizzle one. I love those strip quilts. Kathy, I just read that. That's not funny. Okay, hold on. Which one? There it is. Okay, here is the Pat Sloan Sew Along. She says, my brain plus technology equals no bueno. So here's the Pat Sloan Sew Along quilt block. That is very cool. All right, so that's Molly's, and I think that might be it. I didn't really ask for quilts this week because I knew I was going to be here, but I definitely wanted to show you guys what I got. And Kathy, for your information, that was not a menopause thing. That was a bursting with pride thing. She says, welcome to also more emotional side of the time of an older female life. It gets better eventually. It's good to know. It's good to know. Let's see. Oh, hi, Nancy from the living room. She's just on the other side of the wall. Let's see. Hello, Darlene. Waiting for delivery of my first featherweight. Yay! Maggie from across the pond. Hi. Do you know Polly? Polly is our honorary UK viewer. Girl, it's like midnight your time. Yikes. I mean, Polly's a night owl, so she's up anyway. But thanks for saying hi. If you need any help with that first featherweight, you get a hold of me. I will help you over the phone on camera. All right, let us talk about. So I was explaining on Monday, but you guys probably didn't get any of it because of the connection. But I was supposed to be part of a panel last night in Idaho talking about how to love your long arm quilter. I have been a long arm quilter for about 16 years. I've done all of the things. Thanks, Lisa. She's got my back. She's like, nothing wrong with a little emotion. I have won ribbons. I have won ribbons at very big shows. I currently just do digital pantographs. I'm no longer doing custom work as a hired quilting gun, but I was able to discern a list from my friends that will be sitting on a panel at a quilt guild last night, and I thought, in case some of you are new to quilting, some of you are considering hiring a long arm quilter, these are things that make long arm quilters' lives easier. Some of you might be asking, well, why would I ever want to hire a long arm quilter? The simple and easy answer to that is at some point in every quilter's career, it doesn't matter how dedicated you are to doing your own finishing work, a long arm quilter will come into your life, either because you have chosen to make a project that is too big for your home sewing machine, or it's something really special and you want something really special quilted on it, and that's beyond your sewing abilities to do. So if you decide to hire a long arm quilter, I completely encourage you to find a recommendation for one in your hometown. I think it's really important. Those ladies are trying to feed their families, but make sure you get a recommendation. I would never just kind of roll the dice on a quilter, especially on a really special project like a wedding gift or a special baby quilter or whatever. So I would also like to state that these are not necessarily rules. They're just kind of suggestions. Hi, Nancy from Lake Stevens in the car. Hi, Patty Smith from Missouri. And you should, if you do find a long arm quilter that can take in projects, it would be good to find out what her specifications are. But these are generic specifications that most of us enjoy. One first is to press your quilt flat. I cannot tell you how many times I get a quilt and it is literally just hot from the machine, and it needs a good pressing before it rolls onto the long arm. So the way a long arm works is there are three. Hi, Kathy Harrison Snivelmish. There are three different rungs. So you have your top rung, you have a batting rung, and then you have a backing rung, and all three layers sandwiched together into the quilt field, however long the long armer's machine is. And in where all layers are sandwiched together is called the quilting zone, or the quilting space. So the bigger the machine, the bigger the quilting space. So pressing a quilt flat just helps it roll on nice and flat. It alleviates a ton of problems in the quilting process with borders kind of waving at you and all that fun stuff. If it's pressed flat, it's best to deliver the quilt project and the backing also pressed flat on a hanger so that it remains flat to the quilter. So that's one. Number two is probably one of my biggest pet peeves, is to trim your threads. I am religious, for lack of a better word, of making sure that even as I'm piecing, I am trimming threads as I go, so I don't have threads hanging out as the quilting machine is going over them. Your tutorial came up on my feed. Oh, good. I'm glad you found us on the feed. Nice. Miss Maggie from the UK. So especially when it comes, threads in particular, when it comes to big color contrast. So if you have like a heavily color gradated quilt, like a real dark and a light, make sure that even on the inside of your quilt that your threads are trimmed, because you can see those dark threads through the light background or the light fabric on the quilt top, and it'll help to contribute to like an overall visual presentation. Oh, Beth, you sent, okay, I'll check. Let me check Beth, my email she has sent. Work in progress. Let's see here. It's a Halloween quilt. It says this is a Halloween wall hanging using Riley Blake charm pack of Hershey Halloween candy. It still needs to be embellished, Buttons on ghost eyes, wool applique on pumpkins, and ghosts and moons. Well, that is fantastic. Y'all, I think I'm kind of weird. I think I like Halloween quilts almost as much as I like Christmas quilts. I just need it to be more than a 30-day period where it's appropriate to have them out. All right. Number 3, always make sure in your piecing of your quilt that you're pressing your fabrics to the dark side. It also, again, contributes to overall aesthetics when the quilt is quilted to not have dark salvages or seam allowances pressed towards your light background fabric. This is so 4, I completely agree with this. Remove animal hairs. So I know we all love our dogs and our cats, but to leave the hair on the quilt and send it to the long arm quilter means that most of the time the hair is going to be stitched in. My husband just sent me a work in progress. Andy, what are you doing? So try to remove as much hair as possible. I realize if you have a kitty or a real hairy dog, it is next to impossible to remove it, but it's even more difficult to remove it once it's stitched into the quilt. So there you go. Oh, Molly, I got your pictures. I got your pictures and I already shared them. Oh, the finished ones next week. Send me the finished ones for next week. Oh my gosh, I got to see what my husband did. I'm not sure. My work in... Andy is quilting for me today on the long arm, so he wanted to send his work in progress. You're adorable, babe. He's quilting Elizabeth Hartman's penguin quilt that I've been working on all winter. That's funny. That is funny. Good job, babe. Good job. All right. Next, number 5 on our list is proper border application. So when borders are kind of waving at you like a flag, that's bad. You want to, actually maybe another live, I will go over my proper border application in order to not have that happen. But you do need to make sure that your borders are laying nice and flat. Hello, Sandy Martin. Thank you for joining us. All right. Let's see. So another good tip on border application is if you have borders that go against seams that go against the border. So if your border is laying flat like this, but you have seams that have raw edges on the outside of the border, it is nice to stay stitch or to serge. I've had some people serge borders. Or especially on bias borders where you cut things so that they go down on a diagonal, it's really nice to kind of secure them a little bit with a stay stitch or a serge at the end before it goes to the long armor. All right, number 7 is my biggest deal. So a lot of people who do their own, Lois March has retired from long-armed. Being a long armor, let's see. What did Kathy say? Oh, love the quilt Andy is quilting. Isn't he doing a great job? Okay, so one of my biggest pet peeves of quilting for other people is a lot of people who are used to doing their own quilting do not realize that you have to make sure you give your long arm quilter an extra big backing and an extra big batting in order to have room to be able to pin on our long arm leaders and to be able to have side stabilizers come through and pinch and grab the quilt. This happens a lot when someone who is intending to quilt a quilt for themselves kind of changes their mind and wants to hire a long arm quilter, because when you quilt it yourself on your home sewing machine, your backing and your backing can be very, very, very close to the same size, and so it's a little bit of a misnomer that you would give that same setup to a quilter. Another thing I've had done, if you are not 100% sure that you are going to quilt the machine yourself, do not use spray-based. I don't like spray-based anyway when it comes to my home sewing machines, because it used to get caught up in the innards of my Bernina and it would usually land up gumming everything up, and before I knew it, my Bernina was at the Bernina dealer having a $150 clean out. So I do not use spray based, but I realize a lot of people do. It's in lieu of using a pin for pin basting. If you are not 100% sure that you are going to do the quilting yourself and it might land up in a long armor's world, do not use spray based. I've had quilts come to me like that, and they land up buying a second batting because in order to pull all of the layers together to load in those 3 separate layers onto the long arm, you have to pull it apart and it disintegrates your batting. So that isn't even on my list. That's another little tip that I should have mentioned to the ladies on the panel last night. All right, 8 is to notate on your quilt before you drop off the quilt to the quilter if your fabric is directional. So if you have an up to your quilt and then you have an up to your backing, those need to be notated. Sometimes it's not obvious to a long arm quilter. I do catch quite a few that are not notated, but if you have a directional pattern to your front and to your back, you need to make note of that with sticky notes and safety pins for your long armer to see when she opens it up. And the last, but certainly not least, if you do not want your quilt trimmed, or if you do want it trimmed, you need to tell your quilter that, because every quilter is different how they return quilts. I do not trim quilts unless I'm specifically asked. I was chewed out once for trimming a quilt because I used to just be my standard operating procedure, and the lady was going to envelope the backing, and you need to make sure that you have lots of extra backing around if you're going to envelope and not use a traditional rolled binding. So there you go. That is 16 years of long arm quilting wisdom in 9 short little pieces of etiquette. All right, friends. Well, I should have a show on Friday. I am going to be in a featherweight workshop, a full featherweight workshop there at the Mesa Quilt Shop. But I am going to pop out early to be able to jump on camera. The Wi-Fi at the shop is not strong enough to carry the show. So I will be on probably for an abbreviated sip and sew. There probably won't be much sewing going on. It's going to be all sipping, if you know what I mean. But please feel free to tune in on Friday at 4 o'clock Pacific, which is also 4 o'clock here in Arizona this time of year. And on Facebook and YouTube. Let's see, Nancy King says, I once requested the falling leaf pattern to fall from the top to the bottom instead of blowing side to side. It made a big difference to me. That is a very big deal. Yes, and that is definitely something you should let your long arm know about. Molly said, I allowed 3 inches on each side of the quilt today, and there was not enough, and my batting shrank up. So embarrassing. I hate when that happens. Molly, there is a little tip for that on your batting. There is a product called Batting Heat, Batting Together, or some combination of those 3 words. And it's basically like a tape that you use a low heated iron, and you can add to the bottom of the quilt while it's on the frame with the tape and press it down. You just move the ironing board right over to the last rung of the machine, and then you can get batting into the quilt. There you go. Another tip. Christine says, Darlene, I was able to find kerosene in less than a 5-gallon container. Nice job. It is a 32-ounce can, which is probably more than I need. It's 1 gallon instead of 5. That's way better, Christine. But I was so happy to find it in the quantity that small. Also, what kind of long arm machine do you have? I started out for the first 15 years of my long arming career on an APQS Millennium. Fabulous machine, American made here in Iowa. It died 2 weeks before we moved to Indiana. I did not move to Indiana. Idaho. It's another I state. And I purchased a brand new Bernina Q24 with the Q-Matic. And it's been amazing. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Batting tape does work well. Nancy agrees. I know you are a Bernina gal, but do you know anything about the Bernadette 77 for a travel machine? I haven't tried to sew on it. I know that a lot of those Bernadette machines are made a lot differently than our Singer featherweights are. Does that make sense? It's definitely a modern machine. It's definitely primarily not metal. I would definitely sew on one. I would not buy one online without sewing on it first just to see if you like it. Let's see here. Kathy, that's a good idea. She says, do you post those suggestions on your website? I think that might make a really good blog post. So I think I'm going to type that up. I think that's a great suggestion, Kathy in SoCal. All right, friends. Well, that was kind of all I had for you tonight. I really appreciate all of your questions, and I really appreciate you joining me. And I deeply appreciate from the bottom of my heart you guys leaking so much love onto Judy P., our buddy in New Hampshire. So I hope everybody has a fantastic evening. I will see you on Friday, 4 o'clock Pacific, right here on Facebook and YouTube. Love you guys all.